Hello everyone and welcome back to Hycast, the premier Hytale podcast. I'm your host Fezzy, and today we're joined by Jamble. Welcome to the podcast. We're glad to have you with us today.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here with the Hycast boys,
Yeah, bro, it's good to have you. I feel like we were talking about it right before this was starting. Like, this has been a long time coming. So, we're finally here. Anyway, we're gonna start out with the same question we always do. So, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are within the Hytale space.
Okay, so I'm pretty new. I've only been making videos for 3 or 4 months, something like that. So I'm pretty new to the whole Hytale content creating thing. My real name's Jamie. I'm from England. I used to work as like a relationship coach, and I kind of started doing Hytale videos for fun, and it kind of started blowing up. My first week, I got so many views in my first week when I started, 3 months ago. And ever since it started blowing up, I just started doing it more regularly, and it's kind of turned into its own entity at this point. So, yeah.
I gotta say, it's pretty impressive that, you've been in the game for, only a couple months now, and you've already made a name for yourself, so you're definitely doing something right. But
I am 100 away from 1K at the moment, so it's pretty nice.
That's pretty solid, dude. Yeah, that's a GG. Either way, let's hop into our first, kind of category thing, which is what we can see from Hytale in 2021, of course, with a grain of salt, because we don't actually know anything, but, either way. The Hytale beta is something many people are eagerly looking forward to, and is expected to arrive sometime within this year. So, what do you think we will see in it? How long do you think it'll last, and who do you think will partake in it?
Okay, so I've got very mixed feelings about the beta. I mean, a part of me says, they're just going to give us, maybe the full game and go, okay, now we're just going to stress test and do a bunch of, tweaks to what people like and what they dislike. But there's also a part of me that goes, what they might actually do is just give us maybe Zone 1 and then go, just play around in Zone 1 for a bit. Then tell us what you thought about Zone 1, and then we'll take the feedback back. And it's there's so many ways they could do it. They could definitely do it where it's like a month before release, or they could do it where the beta is out up until release. Honestly, I don't really know. I'm so flippy-floppy with the idea because there's so many directions that they can go, and that's something to know about this type of genre, this sandbox genre, is that they can really do whatever they want when it comes to that beta. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's weird because I feel like the beta was definitely something they had planned to come out a while ago, but after all the hype came about, everything kind of fell apart. So I almost wonder if there. I mean, obviously there's still a beta sign up button on their website, but I'm curious to see if it's even still gonna really happen, or if it's gonna be more of a closed environment kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I definitely think they want to put their best foot forward in the eyes of everybody. So I'm almost curious to see if we're even gonna get a beta. But either way, kind of more on the point of the beta. Kind of stepping back here in our own video previously. We predicted that July might be a good estimate for the release date of the Hytale beta. So, what is your opinion on that? How do you think that's close? Do you think it's on point, or do you think it's going to be a totally different time?
Okay, so it's no secret that July is a little bit of a meme for every year. Everyone said July, right? Last year, everyone was saying July, it's gonna drop July.
Yeah.
But I think anywhere after July is definitely accurate. I even made a meme myself, where Yoda says, it's gonna come out in July, and then he gets shot. But no, I definitely feel like anywhere after July, it's going to be after July. That's what I'm feeling. I mean, I might be wrong, but I definitely feel like July is a good guess, personally.
Yeah, I think so too. I either think it's going to be around July or just the total end of the year, because I wouldn't really see another kind of point that makes sense to drop a game. Maybe November or October or something. Maybe not actually, because that's when all the AAA games come out. I don't know. It's going to be a tough spot, I think, for them. But I think their best bet would be July or soon after. But either way, hopping into the idea of the Hytale Creator Program, which is another thing that we all could be looking forward to in the months to come. In your
Yes.
personal view, what will this program look like? And what do you think we can when do you think we can expect to see it drop?
Okay, so I feel like the Hytale Creator Program will drop maybe a little bit before the beta, and I feel like really it will be the beta to the beta, right? And so we know people like Connor and, you know, maybe yourself and, you know, 30 Virus, a lot of the big people are probably going to get in there. I don't know if they're going to do it where they have a group of people at different times, so maybe they have, you know, the really big guys first, you know, like 7 of them, and then 7 of other people, then 7 of other people. They might do it like that, but or they could just bundle us all in together. If I do get in, I don't know. I mean, you know, I hope so, but there's also a high probability that maybe some of us won't be able to get in because, you know, that obviously when you're competing with people like Captain Sparkles and, you know, whoever else, you know, a lot of the smaller people do get left behind. So, you know, I'm really excited, and whether or not I get in or not, I just hope that the people who do get in, really do care about the game and want to see the game succeed and give them the best feedback that they can to make the game the best it can be, right? That's all that I really hope for. And what I kind of expect is it's going to be a little bit like the beta, but we're going to be more focally active with the developers. That's what I'm expecting.
So are you leaning towards the idea that they might like kind of focus on kind of the bigger creators in the scene, or maybe kind of just a general thing?
Oh, you know, they might pick a mix. So people who I think will definitely get in are people like Quebec Corner, who's been in this for so long that they have to give him a spot, right? 30 Virus, I reckon he's going to get in, but I definitely do feel like they're going to have some of the bigger people like In Lilwood, Captain Sparkles maybe. I mean, maybe not. Maybe they won't have the time to. Maybe they're looking for people with freer time, so maybe they might pick from the smaller people who are more really into it right now rather than the bigger ones who will come in and jump on. So it could be anything. I have heard rumors that, you know, they want people of all sizes, including artists. So, you know, who really gets in it who knows?
I guess it kind of depends on their intention with it, right? Like whether or not it's going to be kind of a vehicle used to promote the game before it comes out, or if it's something where they genuinely just want people in there to test and just kind of as a raw testing environment. Because, you know, if they want something to be a bit more of like a promotional tool, then I would assume they would add like a majority, like huge creators like, you know, Dan TDM and Captain Sparkles, like we mentioned and stuff. So because that way they'd spread it to like a wider audience and stuff. But I actually kind of agree personally with the idea of it being kind of a mixed bag. I think it might serve the purpose as both. Kind of like a tool to throw the game out there in front of a large audience with bigger creators, but still throw some of the smaller ones in there because, like you said, they might have a more open schedule. They'll probably be faster to give feedback, which was, you know, that's the point of a beta, right? So
yeah.
You know.
I think for me personally, diversity is something important. As long as they don't get a bunch of people from, let's say, America, right? And they don't have many people from other places, because really, we want a lot of feedback from people with many different opinions. And depending where you're at in the world, really changes up your opinions. So if we can get some maybe people, you know, who are, you know, from Asia, or people from, you know, countries where we don't really hear their opinions as much as maybe the UK and America, I think that would be good as well, just so that we can really see what a lot of different people and a lot of diverse opinions about Hytale.
Right. Yeah, I think getting a really good sample size of people kind of from everywhere with different point of views on how the game could turn out would be beneficial.
I agree.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, overall, kind of moving back a little bit, what are your expectations in regards to the Hytale community as we approach both the beta and a creator program? Like, what will happen to it as a whole, and will it even be recognizable to something we have now?
So I reckon the community will definitely expand, especially as we get closer. With that expansion, I reckon that a lot of the tightness that we see right now. So, I know some of my subscribers off by heart just because they're so, they're in my Discords, they're in all the Discords, they're all over every video, and I see them on everyone's video. That's going to become way bigger, and I definitely feel like a lot of us joke about this wave, right? And you're either going to ride the wave or you're going to be sunk by the wave. And I feel like that's definitely a possibility. I feel like some smaller people will grow, a lot from it. And I feel like some people will probably be hidden and might leave, or, there's so many different directions that it can really go. But with the community, it's definitely going to grow. I mean, even if the game doesn't blow up, which personally I feel like it will, I reckon that it will definitely subtly grow. Even if it flops, look at communities such as Sea of Thieves or No Man's Sky, where they still continue to grow to this day, and they are pretty big communities, even though they kind of flopped at launch. So right. I definitely feel like either way, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think there is something to be said. I think especially the Hytale community will be a bit more lenient. I guess maybe not like the broader scape. Like if the game does explode and get thrown into the public eye, obviously people are going to be a bit more critical. But I think the kind of the core that Hytale has is pretty, they're pretty well there. Like as long as they've been there, I think they're going to give the game a pretty solid chance. And that moment when Hytale does come out is going to be a big moment for so many people. Like you said, some people are going to get buried, some people are going to flourish, and it kind of just depends on the luck of the dice as well as how much you've put yourself out there before that. But in terms of how the game is going to be perceived on launch, I think it's going to be kind of a situation of like you said, Sea of Thieves and No Man's Sky had huge turnarounds. Like especially No Man's Sky, that's like an industry like disaster when it came out, and then flipped itself around to become like kind of the miracle child of the industry. Like this game development studio is now looked at as a huge positive thing in their mindset and stuff. But I do think Hytale might have like probably one of the strongest chances to be kind of for lack of a better term, kind of like an instant classic or something to like the gaming industry, because they pulled right back into super heavy development before mass consumption of the thing. I mean, granted, 50 million views, 60 million views is kind of mass consumption. But like not, I feel like the actual core of the Hytale space was bigger back then, but there's still quite a bit there, and we still haven't seen as far as it's going to go. So I think like once true mass consumption happens, once there's ads everywhere for the game, once maybe even they might show up at panels at game conventions, I think there's a strong chance Hytale could be like kind of a star on the gaming industry. It also kind of depends how they handle that beta, but I guess that's all to be decided. So just a bunch of speculation.
I think for sure it's going to be a classic sort of like Terraria or Minecraft, purely because the fact that they're giving us tools to mod. Now, we all know why Minecraft is so popular. It's because it's so creative, and modders and plugin creators can go and make amazing things that you never expected in Minecraft. Now, Minecraft didn't know what it was when it was being made. They know what this game is. They know from Minecraft, and they obviously know that this is also just a tool for modders to go crazy. Now, even if the content in the game is lacking, it doesn't even matter, because the modders will come in after a few months and there will be crazy mods. So I imagine, kind of like Skyrim, where, oh my god, you're going to see articles that go, oh my god, look at this Hytale mod that someone made, look at this Game of Thrones Hytale mod and whatever, right? That will blow the game up, and people will definitely come back, and, they'll be in and out. Especially if they do decide to make it free to play or something, you're going to get thousands upon thousands of people join daily, so
I guess we'll see. But kind of more on the idea of Hytale monetization there, which is actually kind of our next topic of discussion. You yourself are someone who is personally invested in the idea of Hytale being a pay-to-play game with a one-time purchase for the full game as the main form of monetization for the game. So,
yes.
why do you want the game to be played? What makes it more appealing to you than a free Hytale?
Okay, so there's a few reasons. So I do want there to be free-to-play features. I just feel like there should be guest features where you can't maybe change your skin, or you can't have a name, and maybe you have a number that says guest 1, 2, 4, 8, 9, or whatever, right? And then maybe you can play the mini games. But I feel for that survival experience, or for that single player, having it paid means that they don't need to focus too heavily on microtransactions. It gives them more choices as developers to really be smart about their microtransactions, rather than we need to have pushy microtransactions because we need this for our bread, right? So that's my opinion on it. It's so that they don't need to be pushy with microtransactions, which they said they will never ever make anything pay to win. But, you know, when you do make a free-to-play game, and obviously people have thrown out Fortnite and League of Legends, I play those games and I know how pushy their microtransactions are. I know that they're super pushy, in your face, consistent, and people will have problems with that if that is in Hytale. But, you know, either way, I feel the game is going to be good. I just personally like the idea of buying it and then not having to worry about anything being in my survival, not having to buy DLC or anything like that. And buying it is just a way to kind of promise the people, hey, look, you bought the game. You don't need to worry, right? And that's how I see it personally, so that's why I'm very much for pay to play.
So, I mean, kind of with that said, like, if the game did end up being free to play, would that bother you at all or make the game any less appealing?
Oh, no. You know, I'm very much open to both ideas. I just hope that there's a lot smarter people than me on their team knowing what they need to do with the game, and whatever they decide, I believe in their vision. It's their game after all. And I'm going to really enjoy the game regardless. And as we said before, there's going to be so much community content and so much things to do in Hytale regardless on what they really deliver, because it's this big tool as well. You know, they're giving us so many things to play around with that I'm not too worried how it's going to be. The one thing that I am worried about though is the hyper mass selling of accounts, or people buying these names and then selling off these names, because they have stated that they will have original names, so only one person will have the name, for example Fezzy, right? So what happens when you get thousands of people making thousands of accounts to pick up names like Red and Blue and trying to sell them? Kind of like how League of Legends does. League of Legends has a big problem with account selling, and that could get messy, but would it ruin the game? Not really. It might just mean that more original names might be harder to get, and you're going to see more people with numbers in their name and more people selling accounts for high prices, which is going to be a little bit of a problem.
Which I assume they're going to have some kind of way to counteract that with some kind of, terms of service situation. But the way that I see it is, as long as it doesn't get to like what happens with Minecraft. Like with Minecraft, it is crazy, because the thing is like the issue with Minecraft is obviously lack of account security, so that leads to hacking. Like people can sell 50 accounts for a couple pennies, and like that leads to hackers relogging in. If it doesn't end up being that insane, as long as Hytale kind of keeps its back end strong with that account management, because that's kind of the reason Minecraft fell apart in the first place back when they had like the move to Mojang and everything got all scrambled. As long as nothing like that happens with Hytale, I don't think accounts will be too big of a problem. But you are right. I think there's going to be kind of like the obsession with original names like in Minecraft, and it'll be interesting to see how far that goes and how Hypixel handles that.
That's why I'm so focused on this guest system that I think would really work, where you can play the game for free, or like parts of the game, so the mini games, but you don't get a name or a skin, because then that those people who play the game daily are going to be like, man, I need to buy this game. I play it daily. I want a name. I want an original name. I don't want to be called Guest1289. I want my name. I want to be able to customize my character, and then they also get to try it out for free. That's why I'm so much in this idea of this kind of like hybrid from free to play and pay to play, because I think that what many people who want the free to play will get, you will get those guests come and join, and you will get them in high numbers, but then you will also get a high turnout of those guests buying accounts, which I think is good.
So kind of similar to something like Roblox in terms of how they manage accounts, because Roblox lets you essentially play the game for free. Obviously Hytale would be a little bit different, like you said, with the single player situation, but I know Roblox you can't customize or anything. At least I'm pretty sure you can't customize like anything, and you're a guest until you make an account. And I guess that'd be kind of like a mutation between Fortnite's system and Roblox's system, because like I just described Roblox, Fortnite obviously is a little more aggressive, like you mentioned earlier, but kind of taking that back, like the idea that Fortnite, the Battle Royale mode is free, but the actual base game, the single player kind of co-op experience is paid, which I guess is that kind of what you're aiming for with that idea towards the Hytale monetization?
Yeah, and a lot of people are like, well, look at Fortnite's single player, that didn't do that well. But the truth is that the single player is going to be more like Minecraft more than Fortnite's. And people will want to buy that purely to mod that, because they will. And, I know a lot of people who play Minecraft, and they love playing the survival, but they would never ever touch online rather than maybe an online server with 4 friends. They never ever went on a multiplayer server. All they do is play survival, and that's it. And I think if they make it free to play, they're going to miss so many people from that side who don't really care about skins. They don't care about anything. All they want to do is download a mod, play survival, then log off for a month, and then maybe come back. And you're going to get those players.
There's like a huge appeal towards like SMPs and modded SMPs and stuff. That could be a huge market to tap into. So that's for sure. I think that would be kind of an interesting way to do it. Of course, we'll have to see. I don't know, man. There's so many different ways they can monetize this game.
Yeah.
It's crazy. There's got to be so much pressure. But either way, alongside the idea of like the game being paid, there's a bit of a long-lasting issue with paid games, kind of like running out of gas at some point in their lifespan due to an inevitable decrease in sales as the game reaches its maturity. So assuming Hytale would be purchasable, what do you think the developers should do once they, kind of get towards that inevitable state of kind of a plateau in terms of content?
Well, then definitely they can start playing with the idea of free to play, especially if they made most of their money. Them going free to play might be a very smart idea, because then you're going to have people making Smurf accounts, you're going to have people who never wanted to buy the game come in and play it. Definitely when they're at that stage, so maybe after 10 years. But also, I reckon after that much time, they will definitely be diving in different areas. So many people will buy the game on multiple platforms. So you're going to get people who buy it on console and buy it on PC and buy it on multiple consoles. You're going to have them probably open up to the China market where they're like how Minecraft did for the last few years, where they opened up China and they got most of their sales from China.
Yeah.
And when they added like pandas and all of that. So you're going to see a lot of that too. But, my personal thoughts on this is, I just hope they have the experts on this really making the decisions, because really, we're all a bunch of YouTubers.
Right, yeah.
We have our personal opinions. I just hope they have people who, work for League of Legends and other games to go, okay, well, if you want to go free to play, well, this is what you're going to have to do. And if you want to go pay to play, this is what you're going to have to do. And either way, I just hope whatever they pick is a success and the rewards outweigh the risks.
Yeah, and I actually think you made a really good point there in the beginning, like with the multiple editions on different platforms. I feel like that's a step that Minecraft made towards longevity that so many people don't really account for.
Yes.
Because once Java Edition got old, it came out on Xbox. So everyone played it again on Xbox. Then it came out on PlayStation. Everyone played it again on PlayStation. Then it came to phones. Everyone played it again on their phones. And then it came out on Switch and all this, and the new consoles, and then they all came together in their own version that they can all cross-plat on. So now everyone that's already played it on all those different versions of the game are playing it again together on a different version of the game. So like, that's a real key idea to keeping the game running for a while, even though it's essentially just recycling the game while occasionally giving it more updates. Just the fact that it's moving to a different platform and maybe even having a different update cycle, kind of like how, you know, all the different additions had for a long time, kind of keeps it looking like it's fresh, and there's a lot of differences happening, and there's all these different ways to play, even though it's kind of the same. It's kind of, I feel like that could be a huge thing for Hytale, even though like with Minecraft going to like, you know, the Raspberry Pi and stuff, it started becoming a meme with the amount of additions it had. I think it's really valuable towards, first of all, you know, their bottom line, like that's a lot of sales, and it's important to their longevity, because, you know, there's just a million different versions of the game that everyone can play over and over again on different update cycles. So I feel like that's a really important thing. But anyway, kind of more on the idea of the alternative hybrid model. Those have been kind of gaining more traction lately, largely to being able to appeal to both sides of the monetization debate. So what are your thoughts regarding the Hytale premium model? Do you think that could work?
Yeah, I mean, that could definitely work. See, a lot of people are talking about hackers and stuff like this, and honestly, you know, it is argument to be thrown out there, but let's be honest, it's a block game, it's a sandbox, and it's about modding. It's not like CSGO or League of Legends or Fortnite, where someone having an aimbot is going to be the end of the world. But, you know, premium is definitely the way that they could go for if they really wanted to, but I feel like that people wouldn't like it as much as just being able to buy the game. Obviously they're going to earn a lot of money from their mini games, regardless on if they go free to play or pay to play. They're going to earn a bunch of money from their mini games, probably from memberships and stuff like that. And who knows, they might open up more servers and earn more money. Who knows, they might open up servers that are literally just CSGO or whatever. They might have a bunch of servers already made that have so many different things, and some of them might have endless ways of earning money. So to earn, let's say $30 or $20 straight away when you buy the game, and then having these multiple servers that earn money and they've got teams working on making sure they run properly, can definitely be a good way to keep the game alive forever. Just because, let's say they have a CSGO server, right, and they sell skins or whatever, gun skins, and it's all official, it's all by them. That's a great way to earn money endlessly. Right. But really, when it comes to premium, if they did do it, I'd be excited to see how it plays out. That's really how I feel. You know, I'd let them choose, and whatever they want, I just want to see how it plays out, and if it's a problem, then we talk about it, right? Because who knows, anything could be a problem. Them making it pay to play, even though to many it's the safe option, it could be a problem. There might be things that we just don't know about Hytale that cause it to be a big problem, where if they went free to play, it might have solved it, right? So let's just see how it pans out. Really, that's how I feel.
I mean, in one of the moments like that, I kind of think it's a pretty good thing that they were picked up by Riot, because I feel like out of anyone that can make this game monetizable in the long term, it can be Riot, because they've made so many smash hit free games, and I think they've kind of got the freemium kind of model down, or however you want to call it. I think Riot's probably got the best chance of that. So kind of on a similar note, though, the idea of something like high coins is another model that has seen interest, which is often associated with the Robux system. Again, what are your thoughts on that monetization model? Any pros or cons that stand out to you?
So the cons are high coins or whatever would be very intrusive. people would be like, oh, because I know that Roblox is very intrusive in its microtransactions. So that would be the con. The pros is that they would earn a lot of money, and they will definitely earn a lot of money from that. And this is an important thing to know, is that they are a company and they are looking for money as well. I mean, they clearly care about the game and they want the game to be good, but they also need to, feed their kids. So
yeah, and they also have, like they have a corporate half now that's like breathing down their necks.
Exactly.
About that stuff. They've got investors, like they've got pretty high hands to feed. So that's a definite problem.
They got people at Riot going, how much have you earned this month? And they're like, they're gonna have Mr. Riot Man bashing down the doors, telling them, "Come on, give us the money."
Right, like it's got to be stressful. So, like I said though, I think Riot is probably the best case scenario in that kind of world though. But I guess we'll have to see. So anyway, kind of moving on to a different topic here, something a little less controversial, for lack of a better term, the gameplay of Hytale. So Hytale's adventure mode will be the core aspect of the game, with the majority of players probably starting out there for their initial experience. So with Hytale combining both RPG and sandbox features into their game, what can we expect adventure mode to be like, in your opinion? What impact will the inclusion of an RPG element have on the game, and how will the sandbox-like nature of the game shape people's experiences?
So the biggest thing is that it's going to feel like a real world. My biggest problem with Minecraft is that it feels like the world is just there to revolve around you. Creepers only spawn because there's a player in the world. I want Hytale to feel like that there's a breathing world and I'm the intruder. I'm the one approaching their world, playing in their world, and really they're living regardless if I'm there or not. And I feel like it having RPG and this whole storyline, it's going to feel more alive. It's going to feel like, there's a real story. These NPCs actually mean something. They're not just walking around in a circle making moo noises, right? They're trying to survive. They're trying to they've got goals and dreams and visions, and that for me is so important, because that's what Minecraft misses big time. They miss the whole, we're a living world and you're just a part of this world. Instead, when you go in Minecraft, it's you are the world. The sun moves around you. Everything, right. The world generates around you. Everything's about you. Creepers only spawn outside your night because you're there. If you weren't there, they wouldn't be spawning, right? So the fact that they're adding RPG elements, for me, is a big reason why I'm so interested in it, because I want to go through a story. I want to feel a bit like the hero, but I also want to pause that sometimes and, play through the story. But, if I want to pause for an hour, I can, and build a house. That's great. But I also want to feel like that my house is there because it needs to be there, not because I just want to be creative, but also because there's a big dangerous world going on around me, and right. These NPCs have their own goals and visions, and especially with bosses, I hope they have a lot of bosses where these bosses actually have motivations. You walk in and, I don't know, maybe you see text or whatever, and you go through these dungeons, and it really feels like, these are alive. These are real NPCs. They're not just there.
Right. I fully agree with that. That's a huge thing that I actually haven't heard many people discuss, is the idea that lends so much to immersion in Hytale. The idea of, like you said, with Minecraft, the world is yours, and that's great and all, but it does not lead to an immersive experience. It's not you don't go into Minecraft to be immersed in the world. You go there because you want to build a house. You go there because you want to chop some trees. You want to make a creeper farm. Like it's which is fine. Like, that's the appeal. But the thing is like, there's a reason why people love the worlds in Rockstar games, and that's because they're worlds. You are not the owner of San Andreas. You are a person within it, and there are people, there are police, there's a whole system. And like games like Red Dead Redemption 2, where NPCs have their own work schedules that you can pay attention to, and like they go to sleep at certain times. Like it all, even they're just tiny little details that add up to something feeling like you're a piece of it all. You're not all of it. You're a piece of it. And I think Hytale is very much focusing on that because, you know, we've seen things like the Outlanders that are, you know, they're hunter-gatherers that do all these things whether you interact with them or not. It doesn't matter. They're doing their own thing. They have rituals on their own. And they all probably serve a great purpose towards you if you are to do something with them. But they aren't only existent just for the player, like in context. Like you could go past them and their AI will continue doing what they're meant to do as if they're, you know, living things. They're hunter-gatherers. They're gonna go kill things. They're gonna do these rituals. And if you so happen to walk upon it, then that's great for you. You know, and that's another thing that happens in Rockstar games is these random encounters that you could have missed if you weren't looking at that moment. And just because you saw it, this whole thing happened. This whole event happened that shaped your experience different than anyone else's because it was random. And you know, that leads to the idea of immersion and making Hytale something you could actually kind of get lost in, even though, you know, it's just a cubic, you know, voxel adventure game. You can get lost in those if it's done properly.
Of course. Of course. And one of the things I jumped up in joy with is when I saw the frog react with the Fenstalker. I was like, yes, they know that each other exists. They have an ecosystem. Their ecosystem works without me. This is great. You know, the devs truly care. They want it to be a real world. This is a real world. Even though it is a voxel game or just a game, it's a real world. And that meant so much to me because, you know, one of my favorite games that I played maybe a year or two ago was Shadow of War, and the whole idea of the orcs just remembering who you were as a player and really just interacting with you, and you know, they remember when you attacked them or when you ran away, and that really builds up this, whoa, I really dislike this orc because he's keep on killing me or he's keep on attacking me, and he remembers and now he's making fun of me. You know, if they do something like that, I'd be over the moon. But also just the fact that the world exists, it's a real thing. It's not just this, you know, you're going in as the conqueror, not as the god, not as the messiah, and I like that. I like sort of,
you're actually meant to be the one fighting the messiah or the god of the game.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Your arc is going after that evil presence. And
I remember when I first started playing Minecraft, one of the big people who got me into Minecraft was the Yogscast, and that whole idea of people when they first started playing Minecraft making their own adventures. I remember one of the first servers that I joined, people would make their own adventures in these little servers with 5 random people, and we would go on this like fake quest, and it was very much RP back in the early days of Minecraft. And, you know, me and Connor, we were speaking about this maybe a few months ago when he told me the first server that he joined, he had some guy going, "Ahoy there, fellow traveller," blah, blah, you know, typing this out because everyone wanted to make their own adventure. And obviously, the developers were the ones who wanted that more than anyone. They made adventure maps. They made Herobrine's Mansion. They made these adventure maps, you know, especially Simon and the guys who worked on, you know, the adventure maps. That was one of the big reasons why many of us joined Minecraft back in, I don't know, 2010, 2011, 2012. And to have that adventure again, or that bit of, yeah, we're going on this massive adventure, really warms my heart and gives me a little bit of nostalgia for a completely new game. But it's different too, and obviously I'm not expecting it to be the same because it won't be the same. But I'm excited for this new journey, this new landmark of game where there's going to be adventure and exploring and RPG and dungeons and new bosses and just all this stuff. Yeah, it's just,
and I think it's
exciting.
A valuable idea for people out there to kind of get the mindset that I don't think, I mean, people are going to do this. I'm going to do this without even like consciously doing it, is trying to relive your first Minecraft world in Hytale. That's not the experience you're going to get. This is a completely different animal than Minecraft is. There's so much more going for this game than Minecraft, you know, alpha, with you walking around in a world that's like 156 blocks by 156 blocks with like, there's so much more going on here. It's a completely different experience than Minecraft is even right now after 10 years of it in development. So this is a new adventure, this is a new thing. sure, it carries a lot of that nostalgia, and it might even feel the same in some ways, but it is very much a new thing, and I think
it is.
I think it's going to be kind of a game changer for the industry and for people. If it gets the opportunity that we all think it deserves, it's going to be something special, I think. But kind of moving on here, kind of shrinking the scope back down a little bit within that world. So Hytale seems to offer a lot more in terms of dungeons and exploration than Minecraft, with dungeon design seemingly closer to that of a fully fledged RPG rather than its cubic counterpart. So what do you think we can expect from something like Hytale's dungeons? How important do you think they'll be to adventure mode, and what sort of loot and enemies do you think we can find within them?
So I tell you what I'm hoping for. I hope that the dungeons are more than you just go in and hack and slash. I hope there's puzzles. I hope there's kind of Sea of Thieves or Breath of the Wild kind of puzzles that you have to do in these dungeons, and then it opens up a room and then you fight. What I'm expecting to see is that there's going to be layers to the dungeons, where you go through one layer and then you go through another layer. Maybe there's waves in each layer. I'm expecting it to very much feel like each dungeon is its own journey, and they're all kind of journeys that relate to the bigger journey. But really, I'm excited to see how they really make the dungeons, because I feel like dungeons are so important, and if they mess up dungeons, it could definitely, for many people, change how people see the game. If the dungeons are really well done, where you go through maybe each part, I feel like the game will be amazing. I honestly feel like dungeons and maybe bosses will make and break the game.
Yeah, and I actually think you kind of made an interesting point there with the kind of the Sea of Thieves comparison, because that kind of sparked an idea in my head of something that exists within the Sea of Thieves games called Tall Tales. They're called Tall Tales. That's what they're called.
Yeah. Yes.
And the idea of that would be like, you find this basically quest line, like you go to various different locations, piece together different things, all for a big kind of event at the end. And I feel like that could be a great opportunity for something like that to happen. Like you say, you could go into one of these dungeons, but instead of maybe finding a big loot table there, you will find like kind of a hint towards this other part of the map you need to go to and do an objective there, and kind of move about the map for a little while until you get to the final area where some big event of some kind happens, and then you get some kind of massive loot table, kind of like a Tall Tale, because that's exactly what those are. One of them, you sail across all these islands going off of a ship's log before it crashes, and then you have to open like a tomb or something and fight what's in there, and then you get the loot. I feel like that could be something that could contribute to, although that's something I haven't heard anything about, so no one get any ideas. That's just kind of a cool idea that I got when you
I think that would be an amazing idea. Honestly, I think that would be an amazing idea. And this whole idea of these adventures in your world where you go and, you can go do them or you can miss them. And maybe there are some rewards if you go do them, and you can just skip over them. It needs to be choice as well, but it also needs to be very much like, you're going on this massive adventure. And unlike Sea of Thieves, there will be running and mining and
right.
And you won't feel bored. You won't feel bored because you're on the ship all the time. You're going to be able to run across lands and do many different ways of traveling, which I feel many people will enjoy about this. And with the dungeons being very unique and a new area to this voxel based game, I mean, maybe you can say Cube World had dungeons, but again, their dungeons were very simple, and they need to be simple to understand, but complicated in the way how they work. They need to open up secret avenues. Maybe there are secret rooms that you can find, and maybe there are things that you can miss and things that you can find, and that really makes every dungeon unique and feel different. And maybe I feel like that the dungeons will probably be generated procedurally, but I feel like if every dungeon you go in, regardless on what world or where you go, if it spawns differently and it has different assets to it, that will definitely make the game very, very replayable.
Right. Yeah. That's just another thing that kind of leads to the idea of just insane longevity towards, this game. So yeah, I 100% agree. Either way though. Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah. I've been playing the Ice and Fire mod recently, and I have this little small dungeons mod that only adds little towers where you go down and you can go down levels, and it's so simple. It's something that I'm expecting isn't even gonna, touch the surface of what Hytale is going to offer us. But even that little simple dungeon mod where you go down the towers and you go down the layers and you fight against these skeletons and zombies with armor, it just changes the game completely. It makes it so much more fun. When you're bored of mining, you can go in there and get loot, and it's just such a refreshing way to go and get resources. And just having those options, even if they are simple, is just such a nice feature that needs to be in the base game of Minecraft, and probably will be one day. Don't be surprised if we see a Dungeons update, if this does go through, right?
Right. It shows you what we're used to, though. Like, the fact that something even as simple in execution as that is, like, such a game changer. Like, it's going to be crazy when this game finally comes out. It's just, it's going to be something else. Either way, though, kind of moving on a little bit here. Hytale's official servers are something we know pretty much little to nothing about. And aside from the few game modes we saw in the trailer, there's no telling as to what we can expect to see within them. On that note, though, what do you think we'll see in the various official servers, or maybe even the only official server, kind of like a Hypixel thing? What game modes do you think we could see, and how do you expect everything to tie together?
Okay, so we're going to see the mini games that we have already. So Sky Wars, Bed Wars, Hunger Games, stuff like that. I'm expecting are going to be there on launch. But I'm feeling that they know, and I feel like that some of us know, that they need a new game mode that is Hytale. That is Hytale's iconic game mode that hasn't been done before, which is its own new thing. So I feel like we're going to see maybe some brand new game modes that they've spent some time making. Maybe this is why they've been spending more time. Maybe they're spending it on mini games. But yeah, I'm expecting some brand new game mode that is going to maybe be their poster boy to really go, this is what we got that you haven't played before. And it needs to be really good, and it needs to be really fun, and that's something that I'm expecting. And maybe something that we might see in a creator program, right?
Right, yeah. And that's really valuable too, the idea of like kind of having the normal stuff that everyone's used to in the game, like Bed Wars and Sky Wars and stuff, just to get them in the door. And then they see this other game mode that's like kind of bartered as this flagship game mode, like this is something you've never experienced before, and they try it out, and that just hooks them on Hytale even more, is like another big contributor to just hooking people in. So I think I think honestly you might have a point there, by the way, also with the whole like, expanded development time thing. There's a lot for them to think about. Like it's probably a little, I would say this is a little more difficult than just your standard like game, even AAAs that come out nowadays, like a COD. Like all they got to think about is a campaign. They got to write that out. They got to do a multiplayer and a zombies, or whatever the third game mode is, depending on the developer. And that's it. They got their cookie cutter formula. Whereas Hytale's the only thing that's like Hytale since Minecraft. Yeah. Like Minecraft, there's never been a Minecraft since Minecraft, and they're trying to expand upon what that game has done, and that game is the best-selling game, the most influential game, period. Yeah. So they've got some huge shoes to fill. And they've got so much to think about that it really does make sense about all. So they got to think about mini games. They got to think about all of them, tons of different little systems that make things work in single player. They got to figure out monetization. There's a lot they got to think about. So it does make sense that they have to take the time. And I think everyone, coming to understand that is a good thing, because and one thing that we already know is that one of the big reasons why they went and made Hytale is because there were mini games that they wanted to make that Minecraft couldn't offer. So we're probably going to see those mini games that they wanted to create and were really excited to create, but they never had the tools to create them, being Hytale, right? So that game mode that they wanted to make and tried to make in Minecraft but never worked out, we might see some of them. So some of their old projects come back through Hytale. Yeah, like a lot of they probably have a whole board, a whole list of just concepts of game modes and you know, maps and these crazy mechanics they want to do in game modes that even already exist, and they just can't because it's Minecraft and it's so limited. So like even games that are familiar to us might be completely expanded upon when Hytale comes out. Like Bed Wars could have a completely different system built into it that we couldn't see in Minecraft, something they've wanted to do forever but they couldn't because it's Minecraft, you know, it only goes so far. So you know, I think that's going to be crazy to see how they manage all that because it's a lot. But
it's exciting. It's exciting. It's so exciting.
It's exciting. There's a lot of optimism there. I think there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of big opportunity for innovation. But anyway, do you think there's any chance we can see some proper, you know, kind of expanding on the idea of maybe some concepts they've thrown away, something like gunplay or any kind of modded game modes in the official servers, maybe like a Hytale engine tech demo?
Yeah, I feel like they might have maybe like I reckon they want to keep it very PG, and guns are such a tricky topic, but we might get like a Splatoon sort of game where it's, you know, paintball or something like that that's really sort of well made, that makes Minecraft paintball look like nothing. We might get some stuff like that, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get some really good paintball modes where you actually see the paint go everywhere, and maybe it's even like Splatoon, right? So that's something I'm excited for, is, you know, some. But it also, so we've seen guns through that like Quebec shooting, right? And a lot of people are like, oh, so guns are going to be in the survival mode. And I feel that they want to keep that very much RPG, kind of Lord of the Rings, fantasy kind of feeling. So I don't think that guns will be in there. Maybe some sort of, what's the word? High fantasy sort of mechanical stuff. I can't think of the word, but yeah, steampunk. Maybe some steampunk sort of guns we might also see. Really fancy stuff. Maybe alien-looking guns too. You know, stuff where it looks like alien fighting. But I don't really expect maybe CS:GO or anything like that to be made. Or anything bloody. I mean, who knows? I might be wrong, but yeah, I'm expecting there's going to be really fun sort of gun game modes that they do make that feel very light and cartoony.
Yeah, and I mean, even Riot themselves has kind of a track record of doing that. Like, you know, how CS is very pseudo-realistic, like it's kind of gritty and there's blood and stuff. But games like Valorant, which is kind of like their take on the kind of the CS genre, is a little bit more cartoony. I believe there's still blood, if I'm not mistaken, but it's pretty cartoony in its art style, and it's a lot more accessible. So, you know, you might actually have a point there. It could be something like Splatoon or something a little more tame, you know, just to kind of keep the horizons broad.
Well, they don't need blood if they've got paint, right? Paint is a good, you know, and I wouldn't be, you know, paintball is a popular game mode in Minecraft, isn't it? Paintball is something. Yeah. So I'm expecting a really well fleshed out version of paintball that is probably really fun. Maybe even moving maps and stuff like this is something that we might see, which will change the total feeling of these game modes that we played on Minecraft to a whole new level, right? Imagine if you're playing Bed Wars and there is, you know, a ship that moves around the world and you can jump on it and you can let it move you around. Things like this are stuff that we will never ever be able to see in Minecraft, at least work properly, that we could see in Hytale, you know, moving blocks where the whole world is moving and you have platforms going up and down and, you know, all this, so many avenues they can take, which just really, we could be here for hours, maybe even days talking about. Oh yeah.
And I mean, I guess one final note on the gunplay idea, and if we do see like almost a carbon copy of Hypixel on Hytale, Hypixel has a CS equivalent game mode in it. I cannot for the life of me remember it, which is embarrassing because it's such a meme game mode now that Counter-Strike's free. But it does exist, and it's quite literally a CS clone. If they ported that over, that could be, you know, that kind of demo idea that shows you that even something like gunplay is possible. Because that does exist already in Minecraft, and they could just improve on that for the Hytale server, like we've been saying. So, I guess it's
well, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
But lastly, here on this segment, what are you most? This is obviously going to be a pretty big question, and you might have a lengthy answer, so don't worry about it if you do. What are you most excited for, as far as gameplay is concerned in Hytale? What is the thing that you look forward the most to inside the game?
Just a story and being able to have my own adventure. Being able to feel like how I did when I was 10 or 9, when I first played Minecraft for the first time. Just feeling like that there's this whole new world, that's this block game, and I don't know how to make everything. I don't know what's around the corner. I don't know the big bad guy. I don't know anything about the biomes. Just being able to go in with a fresh start and being able to go around and explore this story and defeat the bad guys and, talk to the NPCs and find things out. That's what I'm excited for the gameplay. I'm just excited to play this game that is so familiar yet so new, and really have a fresh start where I don't know everything. And I'm going to stay away from wikis, I'll tell you that for sure.
Yeah, and the thing is, for the first little while, no one's going to know anything. Like,
yeah,
everyone's going to be just as ignorant as you are to how everything works. So it's just going to be like everyone, the entire internet, quite possibly, will be trying to figure out this game. And you could even contribute to that, like anyone watching or you yourself. Making those discoveries about the game that, go on the wiki, and or you are the person that makes that guide that is the standard for everyone to follow when the game is, fully out there and everyone understands it. Like, it's going to be insane. It's going to be a huge horizon, and it's going to be a huge new experience for everyone. Some people are going to be probably filled with a bit of nostalgia. Some people are going to be taking this on as a brand new thing, and maybe a little bit of both, because that's what it is. It's both. It's familiar and different. Like you said, it's completely new, but familiar in feel. So, absolutely. But for fun here, we do have a couple bonus questions before we let you go. So these are just a couple things that we threw together just for fun to kind of sail it off. So what is the number one thing you would like to see from the next Hytale blog post, and why?
Maybe a little bit of more fleshed out kind of show no, I can't even speak. Showing maybe some stuff like the dungeons in more detail, and showing maybe some of the big things, like, so we know about the Gaia statues, but we don't know what they do. Maybe something core to the game. So if teleporting or going through like different places is core to the game, showing something that's going to be core and very much done a lot. And if they do have a new blog post, I really hope that it really shows a lot more than what previous blog posts have shown. Maybe a lot more gameplay, maybe even like, a 3 or 4 minute just gameplay of something really, really good, like a dungeon or something where we can really just have hours of content talking about this one thing. That's what I'm really looking forward for.
Yeah, and that's perfectly understandable. And for our next little bonus question, and this one's pretty much completely unrelated. Since your name is Jamble, you got to list us your 3 favorite jam flavors, and your favorite thing to eat with jam.
Oh God, the hardest question so far. So yeah, I guess strawberry, raspberry, and like lemon curd or like lemon jam. But one thing that I love with jam on is jam tarts. I don't think that you have it in America, but if you ever go to the UK, I think you can also get them in some other countries like Europe or like European countries or Australia. Get jam tarts. They're so nice. I absolutely love jam tarts. So jam tarts are definitely a jam-based food that I like a lot.
Hey, well, so yeah, there's a perfect way to end it off. Is your next vacation, make sure you try out jam tarts. Either way, though, that's all the questions we did have for you today. And if there's anything you'd like to say, any socials, etc., feel free to do so now.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, both to you guys, Fezzy, Chaos, and also the Hycast watchers and subscribers. Means well to me. If you want to come subscribe to me or watch some Hytale content, go subscribe to a guy called Jamble, probably link in the description below. And yeah, just come subscribe, watch my YouTube, and, make up your mind yourself. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Just come and give me a try.
Yeah, bro, and it's been an absolute pleasure having with you.
Thank you.
Screwed that sentence up. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you with us today. And make sure to go follow Jamble on his Twitter and everything else. All the links are down in the description below. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into this week's podcast and subscribe. Wow, I'm all over the place today. Consider subscribing if you'd like to hear more. This has been your host, Fezzy the Frog, and I'll see you next time.